If you want to get the top odds every time, bet with Top Sport's Same Game Multi. Top Sport. Feel the excitement.
Gamble responsibly.
G'day and welcome back to another edition of the Same Game Multi podcast. Thank you once again for joining us. We've got a massive show today. We're going to have a look at the race that stops the nation, the motor race that is, Bathurst 1000. Also jump on over to the BBL, which kicks off on Sunday night. And we'll have a little early preview of the Ashes as well, which will be on next Wednesday. So make sure you stay on side because we're about to kick off. As I welcome in the man of the moment, Mr. J-Rod Jerome Hughes. How are you, mate?
Good, mate. Yeah, it's good to be here.
And to my left, we've got the one and only, the Rooster supporter, Mr. Cherry. How are you, mate? Yeah, that's good. Yeah, not good to hear. Obviously, Ches can't be with us today, so we do have a replacement for him. You can hardly tell the difference. Obviously, he's kitted out exactly the same as the big man would be. And hopefully he'll probably bring as much insight to the show as he normally does. This will be good. I only have to look one way, which is great. My neck won't get sore, which is fantastic. What was your highlight of the week, mate? What made your twiggy stick turn into a hot stick cabana?
Mate, my highlight of the week, it hasn't happened yet, but it's going to be the cricket. I'm pumped for the cricket. It's just something in the air. There's a little spring in the step. So, yeah, that's my highlight. It's yet to come, but it's just got a good buzz about it. Yeah,
it should be good. For me, my highlight was actually Saturday. Saturday afternoon, got a little leave pass.
Hey.
I was able to go down to the headquarters and have a bit of a drink and a bet with the man here and the guru, which was great. Great to get out, spend a few hours down there. Didn't back many winners, unfortunately, but it was more about spending the quality time together, mate. Ches, what about you, mate?
He's being rude.
Yep, bit shy today. He actually does have some. Let me just find where he put them here, and I'll read them out. So he did want this to be mentioned. Let's find it here on the bloody group chat. 1,000 things here. So his highlight, and surprise, surprise, was the cheese. Obviously, Brendan Smith being linked with the Roosters. Uncle Nick strikes again. So that's probably going to take effect come 2023, if not earlier. I would not be surprised if they cut ties with him.
Yeah, there's some people that have got their nose out of joint.
Yeah, a few comments, obviously, on a podcast there. And the thing someone's gone through and counted how many F words he's said in the C-bombs. I'll tell you what, they fucking have a good time watching our show.
Well, in my eyes, it's
don't get paid by the F-bomb.
Yeah, it's only offensive if you find it offensive. If you don't like watching that sort of material, don't watch it.
Turn it off. Exactly right. Just don't turn ours off. Also, there was in the darts, someone had a tiger suit on, and one was dressed as the Tiger King as well. So he's got a few laughy emojis after that. So he probably had a bit of a cackle on the lounge there after about 15 beers at that, I reckon.
There was a dinosaur running around too.
Oh, with the T-Rex arms?
Yeah.
Oh,
Something
they're
like
hilarious.
Big T-Rex running around in the crowd. It was good.
Did you have a low light, mate?
I did have a low light. It's an easy one. It's Chock Mundine.
Again, what's he done this time?
Did anyone see after the what would arguably be one of the biggest upsets Australian boxing, I'd say?
Yes. Yep.
He basically, rather than praising the fact that
Combosis, was it?
Combosis Jr. has won the title and done what he did over there. Basically went over there with a mentality to say, mate, I'll fight him in his front yard if he wants. He took no prisoners. Chock Mundine comes out and instead of praising the young fella for what he's done, he comes out and basically makes a point of himself before he then praised him. Basically said he's the best athlete in the world. Simply because he was the number one in one sport and went and been number one in the next sport. I tell you what, if he had kept playing, I will give him his credit. He was an incredible footballer. However, if he had kept playing, he may have been one of the best in the world. When he left to go boxing, he wasn't the best in the world. And then Ches is Ches is on the lean. For those who are watching, and the other comment was that he was best in the world in boxing. Well, mate, I tell you what, you weren't.
He's far from that.
Weren't within a bull's roar. So Anthony Mundine, fuck you.
He does like making everything about himself, doesn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. So, and he came out and said, "Oh, that time's done, and I want to start winning supporters back and stuff like that." And he was basically saying that he's going to put his own ego aside and just sort of support the sport itself and all that sort of stuff. But here he is again. Yet again, he
lasted 3 minutes, just like me. Ches has got a bit of a low here as well, and that's back in the darts again. And there was a bit of booing from the crowd. I don't know whether you might have seen that, J-Rod, in the championship finals while the players were throwing the darts. Obviously going to put them off, similar to a golfer and a tennis player, I suppose. And also Adrian Lewis being a dog to Peter Wright and blowing up after the game when he lost. So
basically what happened there was Adrian Lewis, so Peter Wright, for people who don't know, Peter Wright's world number 2. So basically he was down 3-0, and rather than throwing with a regular rhythm, he slowed himself right down and basically took the pace out of the game, which got Adrian Lewis out of his style of playing and suited Peter Wright more. Basically come back and dusted him and beat him, and then afterwards just accused him of being a cheat, said he was cheating. Basically, they had to be split by security and match referees on the hockey.
Yeah, right.
In a game of darts. So I tell you what, there's a bit of entertainment there.
Everything you did, though, was inside the rules?
Well, absolutely.
Just maybe not inside sportsmanship.
Oh, well, then again, too, it's you're playing, like I say, it's a professional sport.
Yeah.
If you're getting the wins and whatever, and saying like he from a bloke who's world number 2, that's unacceptable. Well, mate, it's tactics. That happens in tennis.
Probably wise world number 2.
All that sort of stuff. So I think it's just sour grapes, to be honest.
For me, it's more so the Brendan Smith saga, not so much what he said on the podcast or anything like that, but the fact that we're a whole year out from anything happening, like as far as him going the Roosters, and that's all the talk has been. It's a whole, not just Brendan Smith, but the whole system of how this works. You got players signing 12 months in advance of going to clubs, and kick hours another example. Just that whole shit show that is. So they've got to sort it out. I hear Andrew Abdo's come out and said they're going to have a look at it and hopefully change the process a little bit. What they do, I don't know. I don't get paid big enough money to work that out, but just that whole process. So, and I just highlighted this week with Brendan.
So you always thought the rule was you couldn't approach an opposition player in means of signing until the November of the last year of their contract.
Well, it must be the November the year before the final contract.
Well, so that means it's players are signing still with 2 years left on their contract, for
18
example.
months, yeah.
Anyway, which is painful too, not only for the fact that, the players, it's more the fact that they've still got 12 months worth of football, maybe even more. And realistically, do they then put it into cruise control and go, oh, well, I'm not going to win a comp with the Tigers, so I'm going to wait till I sign with the Roosters? Yeah, you're right, Chaz, or what?
We'll fix him up in the ad break.
Fix him up.
Very good. All right, that caps that off. We've actually brought back 3 of a kind this week. J-Rod's come up with a good one, so let's jump right into that. And obviously the big races on this weekend has actually kicked off already. A bit of action happening down there in Bathurst as we speak, but the main race being Sunday mid-morning, I think, kicks off about 11:15, something like that. What do you come up with this week, mate, for 3 of a kind?
Yeah, well, this one picks itself, doesn't it, really? The Bogans Christmas, they call it, the Bathurst 1000. So basically we're going to go memorable moments, favourite moments, etc. from the previous years. So looking at mine, I'm not going to say so much it's a favourable moment. Off the top of my head, I'm thinking, Greg Murphy's Lap of the Gods, the first to break under that second. Then I think it was broken about 3 years later when they got into the next generation car with sequential gearing and all that sort of stuff. So, but I'll kick it off with the first one. I'm going to go in 2014. Do you remember when Jamie Whincup? It was obviously the centenary of the Gallipoli Anzac sort of traditional sort of. HRT, Red Bull Racing, which they are now. They basically came out 888 in. They had like a camouflage artwork on their car. Last lap, right on his tailpipe. basically they were telling him he's out of fuel. Literally, we've done the maths over and over again. There is no fuel left in the tank. You must go into reserves, and that was with about 4 laps left. Sorry, and if you watch carefully, he eventually unplugs his headset, so he's not listening at all, and he's racing at full speed.
I do remember that.
Basically, he was still getting the calls, but he couldn't communicate back to them. He wasn't worried about that. But there is an acknowledgement button on the steering wheel. And basically, it was on the last lap. He must have known it was there. Like it was starting to chug around corners. It was on the very last lap. They were all but gone out of juice, and he's pressed the acknowledgement button at the top of the chase. By the time he got to the bottom of the chase, he'd lost the race. He'd ran out of fuel, all for the sake of literally, what do you reckon that is, maybe 800 metres. That's all he had to save fuel for was 800 metres, and he chose not to do it. So,
I do remember that. Yeah, I do remember
suck
that.
eggs.
I'm going to take you back to 2004. Now, you would have only been about 10 years of age at that point. I was probably double that, but we won't go into that. Jim Richards. Now, if you haven't seen this, go back and watch it on YouTube straight after you watch us, of course. He actually hits a kangaroo just near the cutting. Now, I'm not for hidden animals and animal cruelty and all that, so don't fucking at me. But he hits him right on the hop, just as the kangaroo hops up, and he goes about 20 feet in the air and about 30 feet across into the barrier. Absolutely annihilates him. And then they show a footage of the car, and the front end is fucked up, completely wrecked. He's trying to hop in between about 3 or 4 different cars, and Richard just happened to be the one that he hit. But go and watch it, and he goes about 20 foot in the air. He just soars through the air. So
crazy.
Ches actually didn't have time to pop any in this week, so it's just going to be Jared and I covering them off. So back to you, mate.
Yeah, my second one was Mark Barguana. He was in the Bundaberg races, 2014. I think it could be maybe 2016. I think in one of the Bundy Rum cars. Basically, on the first lap, what had happened was he tried to split the lane. When they took off from the start line, and he checked another car and basically put a fracture in the rim. Well, that's what they reckon the diagnostic was. Basically, when they come down Conrod Straight into the chase, they're doing, upwards of, close to 300 Ks an hour, 280, 300 Ks, and that tyre's given way. The rim's given way. He hits the sand trap side on the Bundy Rum car and just flips head over heels constantly. Basically leaves nothing but maybe 2 or 3 doors and a boot on the car. Luckily enough, that just shows how safe they are with those roll cages. Phenomenal. It's after you watch us, you watch the 2004 Richards. Go and watch that one.
Very good. For me, my number 2 ace is back in 2005, so only a year ahead of my first one. And this was Marcus Ambrose and Greg Murphy, almost coming to blows. They were coming up the cutting there, and I think Murphy tail-tapped Ambrose and spun him around and lifted him through the air, and he wasn't happy, and they don't like each other. And they've all come to a stop and basically stopped the whole race. Cars banked up, couldn't get through. Eventually, a few cars wound their way through and got off, but Ambrose jumps out of the car, heads straight up to Murphy. And Murphy's already out of the car there. Their fingers in each other's chests, and I was just waiting for the old helmet to be hit. But I watched it again yesterday. It was fucking hilarious. But yeah, again, after you watch all that, go and watch that one as well.
I think, speaking of that, one that comes to mind when you say that, I think Marcus Ambrose might have had might have been Russell Ingall, sorry. Russell Ingall had an incident with Scaife where he tapped Scaife, put Scaife into the wall. His day's done, and Scaife takes his lid off, and he's waiting for Ingall to come back past, and he's right on the edge of the track, and he's just about ready to throw his helmet at him. It's good to see.
Love it. What's your number 1, mate?
My number 1 was in 2017. I remember watching this, and it was Chaz Mostert hit the wall on the top of the mountain. Something when he come over the top of Skyline. I have a funny feeling. I didn't read too much into it to refresh my memory, but I think he might have had a brake failure, and he hit the concrete barrier at, I think it's something phenomenal, 240 Ks an hour in a screeching stop. If you watch it, there's people at the bottom of Skyline. There's people at the bottom of Skyline with their, the marshals there, anyway, and they're looking over the top of the concrete, and they just hear the squeal. And if you watch it, they get just underneath the concrete barrier when the rear end of Chaz's car comes over the top, and they've got like a cage around their area. That cage goes flying. Anyway, long story short, if you watch that on YouTube after you watch those ones and have a look at how much damage is done to the car, all he did was broke his femur.
Yeah, okay.
In the whole no, he broke his wrist as well.
Fucking safe, eh?
So where he had hold of the wheel, when he hit, the front end kicked and it broke his wrist because he had hold of the wheel. And the other one was when he spun back around, he broke his femur when he impacted into the wall.
Just for those that play at home, mate, where's the femur?
It's in the top of the leg.
Connected to the hip bone?
Hip bone, yeah.
Connected to the wristwatch?
I was just trying to think of what Dr. Nick says.
Very good. My number one, 2015. Now, this isn't actually in the supercars, in the V8s. It's actually in the Aussie racing car series. Now, a driver by the name of Damien Flack. Now, if you watch this, again, it is phenomenal how he's still alive. But he's coming down Conrod Straight, about 230 k's an hour, and it's actually his brother. Just nicks him on the tail, flips him, spins him, and he flips down doing 230 k's, and he does about 6 barrel rolls. Every panel on the car comes off. Every panel. It's just the shell, just the roll bar. It flips over the fence and then bursts into flames. Now, he did only suffer broken ribs and a punctured lung only. But if you look at it and you watch it, you'll wonder how he's not fucking dead, to be honest. It is sensational, the footage. I recommend that you do watch that. If you do like a crash, which I do. So, but obviously he was safe, and that was the main thing. It just goes to show how safe those cars are built. That was a good one. I enjoyed that. A bit of a trip down memory lane. What we might do, mate, we might take a quick break and we'll come back and actually talk about the big race this weekend, have a look at some odds, and also jump into some cricket as well. So make sure you stick around. We'll be straight back after this.
You can't beat Top Sport's best of the best multis. Top odds are guaranteed during any Saturday Metro meeting. Plus, there's best of the best to win up to $5,000 on Saturday Metro too. Top Sport. Feel the excitement.
Gamble responsibly.
All right, we're back. Thank you for sticking around. As I mentioned before the break, we're going to now have a look at Bathurst 1000, the motor race that stops the nation. This main race is kicking off on Sunday. About 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock in the morning there. I'm not too sure exactly what time, but it's great day just to sit at home, sit on the couch all day and watch the cars go around. You know, you say that to someone and you think, oh, how fucking boring, but there's so much happens in Bathurst, and there's just those moments in time, especially what we just spoke about in Three of a Kind. Spectacular moments, that last, memories last forever. So it's great because as soon as you walk away, go to do a piss or get another beer or whatever, something's happened. So.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very strategically one race. People just go, oh, just go there and drive a car. No, you don't.
Yeah.
No, there's a lot more to it. When it comes to particularly your crew and everything like that, and being able to read the race, and all it takes is for 3 or 4 spits of rain, and mate, they can turn it into a schmozzle real quick.
Absolutely. Ches, what do you think about the Bathurst, mate? You like watching it go around? Yep, cool. Mate, let's have a look at the market. So I'll pop it up on the screen there. And as we spoke about a couple of weeks ago, we had an early look at the market. And Shane Van Gisbergen and Garth Tander were the favourites and still are. They're at $4.20 at the moment, thanks to Top Sport. Followed by Jamie Whincup and Craig Lance. Now, that is a lethal combo, as we all know. They're $5.50. And then we've got Anton Di Pasquale versus Anthony D'Alberto, and they're $7.50. So they're the top 3. You can go through and get quite a few others there. One I mentioned a few weeks back was Mark Winterbottom and Michael Caruso. They're paying $41. James Courtney there as well. He's also $41. But what you need to do is you need to head on over to Top Sport. They're the major sponsor of the Bathurst 1000 and the betting agency of choice, and they've got thousands of markets. I'm just looking at the winner here, but you scroll through, they've got a podium finish, a top 6, a top 10, top Holden, top Ford, winning team. There's 1,000 there. New Zealand versus Australia, winner, Quinella. There's a heap of markets there, so make sure you do head on over to Top Sport, create yourself an account, use our promo code SGM, it'll be in the description below in this video. And feel the excitement and make sure you get on board and have a hunt in the Bathurst 1000. Who do you like, mate? Looking at a market, just for the winner, who do you like?
Mate, It's a difficult one. As I said, this race can put you on your ass real quick. Whether you know, drizzle or rain, you might run your line a little bit wider. You end up in the marbles. It's cold tyres, change of brakes. You're not pumping. You know, you don't pump the brake fluid through. You know, anything can happen. But
it's so different to bet on than just a horse race. You know, a horse race lasts, 2 minutes or whatever it might be. This race lasts for 5-6 hours.
6 hours,
and so much can happen. I have checked the forecast. It is meant to be fine. A bit of rain down there today, tomorrow, but Saturday and Sunday should be okay. So I reckon it'll be a fast race, and hopefully, there's not too many stoppages and safety cars and whatnot. But anything can happen in this race.
Absolutely.
So it can go from penthouse to shithouse like that.
Well,
hard to go past last year's winners with Van Gisbergen and Tanner, and $4.20. The bookies are showing that as well.
Well, Shane Van Gisbergen's he's already won the championship.
Yeah, he's locked it up.
He is basically a blimp ahead of everybody. At the same time, Garth Tander, old GT, been there, done it all, and survived. There's not a lot in the world of motor racing in Australia that bloke hasn't done. Boys, I tell you what, that's a hell of a pairing. But with that, I'm going to tip them to win. At the same time, if I'm going to have a little side bet, it's going to be on Anton De Pasquale. I've watched him race a couple of times over the series of the championship, and he at Sydney Motor Park in the night races over the last couple of weeks, he's been driving phenomenal. But as I said, being at the Sydney Motor Park, obviously it's not part of the endurance leg, so they're only short races. The other one too is Cam Waters, who's actually driving really well at the moment. But mate, like I said, I can't go past GT and Gizzy. I can't beat them.
Yeah, I like them too. I'd like the second favourite there as well with Win Cup and Lowndes. Obviously, they've got so much experience between the two of them. But the one I'd like, and a little bit of roughy here, I'm just going through the market, is where is he? Paying $34. Here he is, David Reynolds and Luke Yulden. Now, these guys won it back in 2015, I think it was, if I check my notes here. No, 2017, sorry, they won. So they've been there, done it, paying $34. So if you do like a roughie, Ches, get on that, because that's some really good odds there. They've got the experience, they've won it before, and I can see them pushing. I just don't know if their car is as good as it was when they won. So hard to go past the favourite, of course. But I'm going to go Win Cup and Lowndes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, not that I want them to win, but just who I think might clinch it.
Well, it also gives you a massive head start, particularly when you got a team as they do. So too does GT and Gizzy under Red Bull Racing or 888. Speaking of a lot, there's not a lot that they haven't done in the sport. Those two together is crazy. Their wins, etc. So, but if I'm going to pick one that's a roughie, I'm going to go. I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to go the Davison boys, Will and Alex Davison in the Shell Falcon. So
are they paying?
Nines. They are
okay.
nines. So
it's not
not a big roughie, but there's money for jam there.
Just a couple little fast facts for the Bathurst 1000. So you mentioned before that Shane Van Gisbergen's already got the series wrapped up. Now this is actually the third year in a row where this has happened, where the series has been wrapped up before the final race. Now he's 349 points in front, and that's unassailable. No one can catch him. But 3 years in a row, which I find, pretty extraordinary that someone's out there that far in front 3 years in a row.
That was Van Gisbergen this year. It was Chaz Mostert in the Shell Power Mustang. That was the first year they were in. They were asking questions about the aerodynamics. They obviously had an advantage over the Commodore, the ZB Commodore, and etc. So I remember that one. The other one I can't think of off the top of my head who it was. Yeah,
I don't know. What do you want? I'll give the stats. It's your bloody turn to do the research.
No, I know it's Shane Van Gisbergen this year, obviously. And
we'll blame Chaz for not knowing.
Yeah, blame Chaz. And I know it was Chaz Mostert in the Shell V-Power Mustang. That was the first year the Mustangs were in.
Also, the oldest and the youngest driver in the race will be in the same car. Now, that's 19-year-old Brock Feeney, and he'll join 57-year-old Russell Ingall. Can you imagine that? It'd be like father teaching his son to drive. I wonder if he's got to put the L plates on when he comes in.
I don't know. It's
Might take an extra 3 seconds.
could do. Yeah, imagine the pit changes.
Could put him out. And also, since the introduction in 1987, the Bathurst 1000 has only run twice without the safety car. That was in 1989 and 1991. Now, the greatest number of safety cars used is 13, and that was in 2000. That was a devastating race. But the greatest number of laps affected by the safety car is 45. 45 of 161. So nearly a third of the race was done under a safety car. So hopefully, like I said, the weather's meant to be good, 19 degrees. Hopefully there's not too many safety cars and we can get some free-flowing racing.
Yeah, absolutely. That'll keep those larrikins on top of the mountain happy.
Very good. All right, that's that one covered off. Like I said, Sunday morning / afternoon. I know where I'll be. I'm going to set the kids up with the tablets and all the chocolate they want, and they can, I'll just deal with them later. So let's move into the BBL, mate. Now, we've got this kicking off on Sunday night as well. There's 3 games this week, which will be great. Great to get a bit of cricket back on some normal fucking hours on the TV, not at 1 o'clock in the morning like it was for the World Cup. We do still have our BBL tipping cop open. That will be open for registrations until Sunday night. So make sure you do head on over to our website. It's on screen at the moment. Become an SGM club member. That's completely free. You don't have to sign up. You don't have to pay anything. All you need to do is sign up. What we'll do then, we'll send you a link to the tipping. And, you might have to create yourself an account, but then you'll be able to join. Free to play. Over $500 worth of cash and prizes up for grabs. And it only goes for 2 months. So make sure you do get on board and you'll have yourself a fair chance of winning, I reckon. So, mate, I'm looking forward to this.
That's the last reminder, too, you'll get from
Last
us.
reminder. I said last week that I was going to call a few people out if they hadn't joined. And luckily, the last person who I was going to call out joined this afternoon. You know who you are. So very well done, Mr. Hack. Yes. So, all right.
Hey,
Jerry boy.
He's spat it. He's had enough.
I hope those headphones work next week. He'll need them. Let's have a look at the games on, mates. I'm just going to bring the market up here. I'm still on Bathurst. Just bear with me here. BBL matches. Here we go. So kicking us off, we've got the Sixers versus the Stars. Sydney Sixers versus the Melbourne Stars. Now, the Sixers are the favourite here. They're $1.80. Melbourne Stars are $2. Now, it's a bit hard when it's the first game of the season. You don't know sort of what you're going to get and who's going to be actually playing because both these teams are going to have a few players out, over the course of the comp due to test obligations and stuff like that as well. But just looking through the two sides, mate, now the Stars, they've got Nathan Coulter-Nile, Marcus Stoinis, Adam Zampa, Joe Burns, Glenn Maxwell's the captain. That's the star-studded lineup, hence the name. The Sixers, they've also got some great players as well. Sean Abbott, Jackson Bird, Dan Christensen, Nathan Lyon, he'll probably be out because of the Ashes, Moses Enriquez, and Jordan Silk, the old long neck. Old Daly Cherry Evans lookalike there.
Oh, Silky boy. I am very, very surprised that if I was Moses Enriquez, I'd be asking questions as to why he's not.
I think he already is.
Yeah,
why he's not in the test side.
Why or what he's done not to get there. But anyway, your boys are Sydney Sixers supporter, so all the more the merrier. So. There's plenty of plays in there. You look across it, we could lose Usman Khawaja. I don't know. If they're stupid enough to go with head over Usman Khawaja in the Thunder game and that, there's plenty of big names in there that keeping in mind too that when you pick your side this weekend that some of them could disappear for that exact reason. So
yeah, I'll be checking the team list before I put a bet on. But that first game, it's on Sunday night, 7:35, which will be great. Look forward to watching that. And then, mate, on Monday we've got the Thunder versus the Heat. Now, obviously, the New South Wales versus Queensland rivalry here, which is great. Again, some great players for both sides. You want to read out the highlights there for the Brisbane Heat, mate? I'll hit you with the Thunder.
Brisbane Heat. Chrissy Lynn, can't go past him as the first cab off the rank. He's absolutely a bomb thrower. Mark Steckity also played really well last year. Marnus Labuschagne's in there. He played phenomenal until... Obviously, international duty came knocking.
And he'll be in the test side, won't he?
Yeah, he definitely will be.
Yeah.
The other one, too, I like in that is Swepson. young Swep, he goes good. And Michael Neser is also one of my favourite in the T20 format. He's a wonderful cricketer in that format, which is actually really, I don't know if you've ever played a bit of T20. So I've obviously played, I haven't played at a high level, but I've only played local high. And in that, T20 is so different. And, the very first T20 that I played in a proper competitive first grade local game was under lights.
Yeah, okay.
It was like...
How'd you go there? Same as what you went up at Gyra the other week?
No, I think I got two that night. Hey, I'm a bowler.
I love it. Sydney Thunder, they've got a few names of note as well. Usman Khawaja, as you mentioned before, Ben Cutting. Alex Hales, now he was one of my favourites last season. He can hit a ball. So hopefully he'll be on fire and get the ball running there. Now in that game, we've got the Thunder. They're the favourites. They're $1.80, and the Brisbane Heat are $2 outsider. Thanks there to Top Sport as well. Now, mate, the third game, which is going to be played on Tuesday. This is what I like about the Big Bash. You got it all through the week. When there's shit all on this time of year, you actually got something that you can watch during the week. So it's fantastic. I love it. Tuesday, 7th of December, about the same time, 7:15 there, we've got the Renegades versus Strikers. Now, the Renegades are outsiders here, $2.08, I think that says there, $2.06. I need my glasses on. Adelaide Strikers are the favourite at $1.75. Now, they've got a star-studded lineup. They'd be nearly the favourite to take out the comp, I reckon.
They go very close. Marcus Harris. I've just got a couple of asterisks above people here. Look, I could do this. Richardson, Finch, Marsh. That's Sean Marsh, not Mitch Marsh. James Pattinson, Nick Madison. At the same time, Kane Richardson, as I said before, and Zahir Khan is definitely one of my favourites. I think they'll go very close.
Yeah, just look in the market. They're the second last favourite to win the comp.
Oh, they really?
Yeah, they're paying $13. So if you do like them, get on early. Renegades are the least favoured. They're paying $15, and I probably think that's because Aaron Finch is inside. But anyway,
hey, I'll get some soap here.
Fantastic, great. It'll be great to have a few games of cricket back on the mainstream telly, prime time television. As I said, we do have that comp running still. Get on board. Some great prizes, cash, cold, hard cash, cold. Honestly, I'm going to get it out of the freezer and give it to you. That's how cold
Cash
it is.
Monies.
So make sure you do register for the BBL tipping comp. We're all in it, so you got a chance to beat us and a few bragging rights there as well. So, all right, that's that. 3 games, mate. Let's have a quick look because we're going to have a look at the Ashes now. Now, this kicks off next Wednesday, the 8th of December.
I am pumped.
We record on a Wednesday, so we want to get in early and just have a little bit of a preview of this week's episode because it'll already be started by the time we record next week, and just have a little look at the early market. And as you said, mate, you're pumped. I could notice that little... It was a banana in your pocket.
It was a pocket knife when I rubbed up against you before. Right. I'm just looking through this England side. There's some quality cricketers coming over. Don't worry about that. Joe Root obviously is the captain. Benny Stokes is what would say was sort of a late inclusion for a second there. We were sort of hesitating whether he comes over. Jimmy Anderson, mate, one of the best pace bowlers, seam bowlers of all time. Johnny Bairstow's up there as well. Stewie Broad, he's up there as well as one of the best seam bowlers of all time. Roy Burns, Joss Butler, Dawood Marlin, good spin bowler himself. Jackie Leach, he played really well in the last Ashes when we were over there. Chris Wokes, Mark Wood, there's plenty of, hey, I tell you what, that's not a bad side.
What about the 2 Ollies? Ollie Pope and Ollie Robinson. You would not believe that there's 2 fellas called Ollie in the same team, but only in England, I suppose.
Never heard of her.
Mates, as I've got written there, big blow when Jofra Archer got ruled out. He's going to miss the entire tour as he recovers from an elbow injury. That's a big loss for them. Yeah,
well, that's probably a good thing too, because I'd hate to be on the receiving end of Pato or someone like that over at the Wacker after he jobbed old man Smith into Mellon. If you remember that, put him out under concussion protocols, which actually give Marnus Labuschagne his first crack at Ashes cricket. So, and he went on to make 100 too, believe it or not.
Aussie's got a pretty good side, and I'll put the market up on the screen so you can have a look. But Aussie's are clear favourites to win the series. But there's been a bit of turmoil in the Aussie camp with the whole Sexton saga with Timmy Payne and stepping down as captain and then stepping down from cricket altogether. But what that does is it gives opportunity to someone else, and Pat Cummins stepped up. Now he's going to be the first fast bowler since Ray Lindwall in 1956 to be captain. And I think they've made the right decision about putting Steve Smith as his vice captain. I think he probably needs someone with that bit of experience. The whole sandpaper gate thing, that's done and dusted for me. He's served his time. He should be allowed to back into it.
Absolutely.
I think now's the right time for Smith to come back in, and probably at that vice captain is probably good. He'll be able to provide some leadership, some advice to Cummins when he needs it, tell him when to bowl, when not to bowl.
It's one of those things too. When you get someone like Steve Smith, for example, as a vice captain, when Pat Cummins is bowling, he just flicks a switch. He's no longer captain.
Yeah, that's right.
So he just focuses solely on what he's got to do there. And who better to take the reins than Steve Smith? I like Steve Smith. The other option I'd say is probably Dave Warner. I sort of get a feeling that Dave Warner's probably a little bit at the back end, whereas Steve Smith will probably play a little bit more cricket than Dave Warner over the next couple of years.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right.
I think they've done the right choice there.
Did you hear what Nathan Lyon said when he was asked if he wanted the captaincy?
I did. I can't remember.
He said, I'd rather be singing the team song and drinking the beer, so I think I'll leave that to someone else. So good on you, Gary. I love it.
Good on you, Gazza.
Some great players, as we mentioned. The fella I reckon is going to be the standout, and he's going to feature in my charity bet, Josh Hazelwood. I think he's primed. Obviously, the boy from Bendemeer, just down the road from us here where we record. I think he's going to be the bowler of the series, and if not the player of the series. I'm calling early, and I'm putting some money on it nice and early too, and I'll get to that in a minute with our charity bet. So I think, what do you reckon, mate? Who's going to win the first test, and who's going to win the series?
This is at the Gabba, obviously up in Queensland. As long as the storm season stays away from up there, I think Australia will do it within reasonable ease in the first one particularly. A lot of people are tipping 5-0, 4-0. I don't think it's going to be that close. I think we might end up with. I don't know if it'll be that much of a drumming. I'm going to tip 3-1 Australia. Look, I'm a little disappointed in this Tim Payne incident. Over all this sort of stuff. Not that I'm saying that I condone and I support what has happened, but I just think it's been treated very poorly.
It happened like 4 years ago.
And I wouldn't be surprised if that was a move from Cricket Australia. I'm calling it now to get that man, Alex Carey, in as the keeper and get him in and bleed him early. He's obviously had a stint at the Australian keepership. I just think it's very poorly handled. And realistically, the bloke's lost his job. This would have been his last series, and I have a feeling he would have resigned from his position on his own accord. Whereas this time he's all but been forced on his own accord. I mean, fuck. What is he now? Our Deputy Prime Minister, Mr. Barnaby Joyce, cheated on his wife, but he still stands. Like obviously they're chalk and cheese with each other, but I just don't understand how this has been treated so severely. Yeah. However, like I said, I don't support it, but
mate, just having a look at the weather, and now this will be fucking shit me. Wednesday when it kicks off, 28 degrees, 90% of 5 to 10 mil.
Wow.
Thursday, 90% of 1 to 5 mil. This is at Brisbane. And on the Friday, we got 90% of 10 to 20 mil. So, that obviously is a week out, and that might change. But there's a good chance there might be the covers coming out at some stage.
Well, if they do...
which isn't a great start to the series.
No, we might be seeing some classic catches, some classic matches. Boys pack the cards. What else would you see on that day, Maybe even flick on a little bit of 12th man and put your feet up and have a couple of cans.
Listen to Richie and the boys.
Very
good. I can't wait. As you said, J-Rod, I'm pumped as well. I just can't wait for that Boxing Day test. Sitting on the lounge all fucking day doing nothing, which is fantastic. So can't wait for that. We'll take another quick break, and we'll be back with our charity bet and a wrap up straight after this.
Another half win. From punters jumping in early or waiting too late. You get a good price on one leg, but the others have shortened dramatically. You still win, but it feels like you half win. Introducing Top Sport's Best of the Best multi. Get top odds on every leg, every time. Don't be one of these. Just bet and forget Bob Multi. Top Sport. Feel the excitement.
Don't let the game play you. Stay in control. Gamble responsibly.
All right, we're back for our last segment. We're going to hit our charity bets now. For those of you that are new to the show, every week Top Sport, our major sponsor, gifts us $50 each to have a little punt with. All money that we do win will be going to our nominated charities at the end of about 6 months. So I've got a few months left. Try and get a bit more money in the bank. We didn't have much luck last week. I ran a nice third, I think, on mine. And you boys...
It was a really good race, but...
Oh, fantastic race, yeah. So anyway, mate, you want to kick us off because I've got to scroll through mine and Mr. Cherry seen he's a bit quiet today.
Yeah, a bit shy, the big Chezza boy. I've gone 2 easy ones, 25 each way. I'm going to go Too Much Caviar in Sydney, and that's paying $4. Rose Hill Race 8, that's Sydney, Race 8. Fingers crossed that gets the jockeys now on the weekend. It was very hard to punt. You were there in such wet conditions. Horses are winning that hadn't had a win in 8 or 10 starts. So, but I'm gonna stick with that. Too Much Caviar. Now, don't be mistaken. That's not Black Caviar's fault. So, but nothing to do. So that's $4. I'm gonna have 25 large on that. My other one, I'm going to go the Sixers. I'm going to go the Sydney Affair. I'm going to go to Sydney Sixers to win into the Sydney FC to win in the round ball as well. That's $3.80 at the time of recording.
And 25 on that as well.
25 on that as well, yeah.
I'll read out Chez's. He's faxed it in today, which is great. Great to get that dial up in internet happening. He's gone the Strikers into Van Gisbergen and Garth Tander have a podium finish. As I said, there's some great markets over on Top Sport, and that's also into Rob Font to beat Jose Aldo in the UFC. That one's paying $4.61, and he's having the full whack 50 on that. So hopefully, little 3-legger there. Pretty conservative for Chez.
Yeah.
He had an 8-legger last week. I think he might have only got 2 legs up, so little conservative, but not a bad price there at $4.60. So.
No.
Now I've actually gone a bit of cherry. I've compensating for it not being here. So stay with me on this one. I'm splitting my 3 ways. First up in the BBL, I'm going to go the Sixers, the Heat, and the Strikers all to win, just head to head. That one's paying $6.30. I'm going to have $20 on that. Nice little return if that comes off. Rose Hill, race 7, number 10, the Guru.
Hey.
I got him last time. Got him about $16. He's paying 11 here, so I'm going to have 20 on that as well.
In terrific form.
Fantastic. And also, I mentioned it earlier when we were talking about the Ashes. Top series bowler, Josh Hazelwood. He's paying $6.50 at the moment. I'm having $10 on that, getting in nice and early. Obviously, that one's going to be in the bet slip for a few weeks until the Ashes plays out, a month or two. But a little bit of a long-term investment there. I can really see him having a great series this year round. So
yeah, he should go really good.
That's just about us done and dusted for this week. As I said, great weekend of sport. If you do love your motor racing, get on. Bath is going to be on all weekend into your Sunday night with the BBL kicking off. And there's some USC in amongst there as well. Some great races, as we just mentioned as well. So fantastic. Good to have some good sport back. We're struggling for a few weeks there with just the timing of stuff, but it's all going to kick off now. We're into our summer series. We love doing the show. We're going to keep doing the show each and every week. We will have a few weeks break over Christmas. I do apologise early for that because I know some of you people can't get enough of us, which is fair enough. You're only human. Anything else, mate? You want to say before we wrap her up?
Oh, there's plenty of soccer on at the moment. I was telling Clint a yarn earlier in the Portuguese first grade. There was a side that had to travel from one side of Portugal to the other, obviously not real far. But basically what had happened, they ran into some COVID protocols, which deemed some players ineligible, etc. They basically wrote a letter of concern to the governing body, and they basically didn't get a response they wanted in time. So they had no choice but to travel and field a side. They field a side of 8 players. One of those 8, this is in the first grade side, they have a 44-man squad. And one of those 8 players was actually their bench goalkeeper, their reserve goalkeeper. A bloke was sent off. In the first minute, I'll tell you, in the first minute they scored. They had a goal against in the first minute. At half-time, it was 7-0. They had a longer than usual half-time break. Shortly after half-time, they basically thought they weren't going to come out. They came out. They had a gentleman sent off, and the reserve keeper actually put a through ball in. In that process, they scored, and the reserve goalkeeper tore his hamstring, so they only had 6 players on the field, had to forfeit the game. That is in a professional level.
Oh, that reminds me of Under 8's Demon Knights.
Yeah, so that's
fantastic.
A little bit of a schmozzle. The other one is too, there's, as I was saying, another big signing in Australia, Jack Rodwell, who played for Sunderland, Everton in England. A really good player. He's over here now. He's absolutely lighting the scene up. 2 games. He's had 2 starts, obviously 2 games into the season, and playing phenomenal for Western Sydney Wanderers on the weekend. Now, he just absolutely glided his way through defenders. And the keeper, he had a shot on goal, one-on-one with the keeper, and he pulled off a terrific save, but in my eyes was absolutely should not have been on the field. It was probably one of the... now, I like Jack Rodwell. He's a really good player. He played for Everton, my side. He now plays for Western Sydney Wanderers, my side. But he made one hell of a horrific tackle. That's how people break ankles, break legs. It was absolutely shocking. The sound of the whistle, you know when something's wrong is when the sound of the whistle is so deep and players rush in. He's literally gone airborne. You know when they roll around and milk on the ground, there's no point milking that because that fucking hurt. It hurt me and I was watching it. And basically the referee had his hand on his back pocket, which is generally red, and he pulled his hand away, and I'm a little bit disappointed because I think they might have realised who it was. They're not going to send off a marquee signing in the first 2 rounds, so there's a little bit of controversy there, I thought.
Did he get a suspension or anything?
No.
You got to be sent off to get a suspension.
Just sent off for a suspension, so we got a caution. All ended well. They shook hands and basically kissed babies together and put it behind them. But mate, if I can, I'll put the link in our group chat. Yeah. This bloke, all his weight's landed on one leg, and Jack Rodwell comes from underneath him, hits him that hard, he flips over and lands on his shoulders. Oh, shit. Jeez, hit him at some speed. So, but apart from that, there's plenty of football on at the moment. The EPL are playing now, 2 games this morning, a draw, and Norwich City got beaten 1-0 in their game. So there's plenty happening around the world, in the world of round ball.
In the round ball. So. Very good. Thanks for that update. Anything from you, Ches, before we sign off for today, mates? No, he's quiet.
Easy one.
Very good. Thanks for sticking around. We didn't get to do 21 and done this week, although it probably would have been the same outcome. It has been for the last 6 weeks, so Ches, he might have had more of a chance this week, Ches. But it should be back next week. Hopefully Cherry Boy's back on deck with us, and there's a few less Christmas functions on down at the Whitebull. We will do Beer of the Week as well. Let's jump right into that right now.
Yeah, Mr. Hawkeye.
Thanks to the Whitebull Hotel.
He's actually gifted us a bit of a classic. Carlton Draft. Now, obviously, is it Carlton Brothers Brewery, I think? Or it might be, whatever the fuck it is. Anyway, this is actually not too bad. Over 150 years of brewing knowledge in every bottle, they reckon. Well, I'll question you on that. So I remember I had this numerous times on tap. It's actually it's not too bad. It is a heavy. I do know that without looking. This will blow the fork out of your night if you have too many of them. It's not too bad, but it's one of those sort of beers you got to drink cold, which means that you got to drink them fairly quick. So, I do like my drafts, for example, new and stuff like that. But I'm going to probably give it a 3.
3, very good.
But I tell you what, if it was 40 degrees outside, humidity's at about 100%, you bust one of these. I don't think it matters what you drink, but that could soon skyrocket it to a 5. But it'll get a 3 today.
Ches texted in his Stubbie Lid rating for the Carlton Draft, and that was a 4 for him. So he was again the same. Loves them on tap. I did mention we're going to get the keg in here 1 week as well. So we'll hit you up for a miracle box one day, Hawkeye, and we'll get that happening. So thanks again to the Whitebull Hotel for supplying us with the beer of the week, and keep that thirst quenched.
It's funny, I remember when we speak about it during the beer of the week, we speak about it on tap is a lot different. I remember I played a fair bit of cricket over my time with a bloke by the name of Brad Rafferty. Now, he basically said, we were down to St Kilda one night after cricket. That was our major sponsor, obviously. Anyway, and he was drinking schooners of rum. They had rum on tap. And I said, what's the difference between that and in the can? Is it any different? He turned around and he said, mate, this is the difference of putting 91 unleaded and 98 unleaded in your car. There's a lot of difference. So it was a good way to
good explanation. Very good. Thanks for sticking around. We'll be back same time next week. Lots to talk about again next week, so make sure you do stick around for that. Head on over to our website, sign up for that BBL tipping comp. Give us a like, give us a shout out. Make sure you do subscribe. I forgot once again to say that at the start of the show. Thumbs up as well. Give us a thumbs up because that will help other people find our show as well. So if you do like it, please tell your friends. Give us a thumbs up, all that jazz. And we'll see you next week. Now, I'm going to get it right first time here.
Because you looked.